No one knew what really happened inside the quiet mansion on the hill. To the outside world, Adrian Cole was just another reserved millionaire who kept to himself after a tragic accident changed his family forever. But behind closed doors, his life revolved around his disabled triplets, 3 fragile children who depended on others for nearly everything. After noticing small signs, he couldn't explain bruises that shouldn't be there. Sudden fear in their eyes, Adrian made a difficult choice. He secretly installed hidden cameras, not out of control, but out of fear and love. The maid, hired through a trusted agency, seemed kind, patient, and gentle. She spoke softly, smiled often, and reassured Adrian that the children were safe in her care. For weeks, everything appeared normal. Adrian almost convinced himself he was being paranoid. Almost one late night, unable to sleep, he opened the security feed on his laptop. At first, he saw nothing unusual: routine care, quiet rooms, dim lights. Then the screen shifted to the nursery. What he witnessed next made his heart pound and his hands tremble. The truth unfolding before his eyes would change everything. He thought he knew and force him to confront a decision no parent should ever face. Adrian leaned closer to the screen, barely breathing. The camera showed the nursery from a wide angle, the soft night lamp casting long shadows across the room. His triplets lay in their specialized beds, machines humming gently beside them. The maid moved slowly, deliberately, checking each child one by one. At first it looked like routine care, but something felt off. She kept glancing toward the door, then back at the children, as if making sure no one else was watching. Adrian's mind drifted back to the months after the accident, when doctors told him his children would never live normal lives. He had promised them protection, no matter the cost. That promise was why the hidden cameras existed at all. He remembered dismissing his own doubts when the agency praised the maid's experience. When neighbors said he was lucky to have found someone so dedicated. On the screen, the maid paused beside the crib of the youngest triplet. Her face changed just slightly, but enough to tighten Adrian's chest. She whispered something the camera couldn't catch, then reached into her pocket. Adrian felt a cold wave of fear. His hands shook as he turned up the volume, hoping for clarity, praying he was wrong. The footage didn't explain everything. It only raised more questions. And as the seconds passed, Adrian realized this wasn't a single moment, it was part of something much bigger. He was only beginning to see. Adrian closed the laptop, but the images stayed with him. By morning, he watched the maid more closely, noticing small details he had once ignored. The way she lingered too long in the nursery, the way the triplets grew quiet when she entered the room. They couldn't speak, but their eyes followed her with a tension that felt heavy in the air. Adrian told himself to stay calm. Accusing someone without proof could put his children at even greater risk. He began reviewing older footage, going back days, then weeks. Patterns slowly emerged. The maid often turned the children's beds slightly away from the cameras. Sometimes she stood where her body blocked the view. None of it was clearly wrong, yet none of it felt right either. As a protective father and a cautious millionaire, Adrian understood that danger didn't always announce itself loudly. At the same time, another worry surfaced. The triplets' medical readings sometimes dipped when Adrian was away on business. Doctors blamed stress or routine changes. But now those explanations felt thin. Adrian started canceling meetings, choosing to work from home, pretending nothing had changed. Late one evening, the maid asked for a private talk, mentioning higher responsibility and trust. Her words were polite, but her eyes searched his face too carefully. Adrian nodded, hiding his growing fear. Whatever was happening in his home was no accident, and whatever the truth was, it was moving closer to the surface. One quiet moment at a time. That night, a storm rolled in, thunder pressing against the walls of the mansion. Adrian sat alone in his office, the security monitors glowing in front of him. Every camera was live. Every sound felt louder than it should. The maid moved through the house with calm confidence, unaware he was watching every step. Or maybe she knew. That thought sent a chill through him. In the nursery, the machines beside the triplets beeped softly. The maid adjusted a setting, then another. Adrian leaned forward, heart racing. He knew enough about their care to recognize routine from risk, and this felt dangerously close to the line. His phone buzzed with an incoming call from a business partner overseas, but he ignored it. Nothing mattered more than this moment. Suddenly, one of the triplets began to whimper, a small sound but full of distress. The maid froze, then looked straight toward the camera. Adrian's breath caught. She slowly reached up and tilted the lens just enough to blur the view. Panic surged through him. He stood so fast his chair crashed behind him. As he rushed toward the nursery, alarms began to beep louder on the screen. Medical alerts flashed red, then vanished as the feed cut to black. Adrian broke into a run, fear pounding in his chest. Whatever was about to happen, he knew he was seconds away from discovering a truth that could shatter his world forever. Adrian skidded to a stop outside the nursery door when he heard voices inside, not just the maid's. His pulse roared in his ears as he pressed himself against the wall, forcing himself to listen. A low male voice answered her in a whisper, calm and confident, like he had been there many times before. Adrian's mind raced. No visitor had been logged. No security alert had sounded. Yet someone else was inside his home. He glanced back at the security panel in the hallway and felt a sharp wave of dread. Several cameras were offline, not just the nursery, but the West Wing too. This wasn't a mistake. It was planned. For the first time, Adrian wondered if the hidden cameras he installed to protect his disabled triplets had only revealed part of the danger. Inside the room, the maid spoke about schedules, medications, and timing. Her voice steady, almost professional. The man replied with questions that sounded rehearsed, as if he already knew the answers. Adrian's hands clenched into fists. This went far beyond neglect. Whatever was happening involved trust, access, and secrets he had never imagined. As thunder shook the house, Adrian reached for his phone to call for help, only to see there was no signal. The mansion felt suddenly isolated, cut off from the world. And behind that door, his children were at the center of a plan he was only just beginning to understand. Adrian pushed the door open. Just as the man stepped back from the medical console, the room fell silent except for the steady hum of machines. The maid turned, her face draining of color, while the stranger froze, hands raised slowly. Adrian's voice shook but stayed firm as he demanded answers. Security training he'd once dismissed kicked in, and with one sharp command, he locked the room down from his phone's backup system. The hidden cameras flickered back to life, streaming everything. The truth spilled out fast. The man wasn't a criminal in the way Adrian expected. He was a private medical consultant, hired secretly by the maid to adjust experimental treatments. She claimed she was trying to help the disabled triplets, believing Adrian was too afraid to try anything new. The changes she made caused the alarms. Not harm, but the secrecy crossed every line. Relief mixed with anger as Adrian checked his children, their vitals stabilizing as emergency protocols reset. The immediate danger passed, but trust was shattered. The maid broke down, admitting she'd been contacted months earlier by someone who knew intimate details about the triplets' condition. Then the final twist landed. When police reviewed the footage, they traced the initial contact to Adrian's own family foundation. Someone within his trusted inner circle had approved access, forged signatures, and stayed hidden the entire time. As dawn broke outside the mansion, Adrian realized the threat hadn't come from outside at all. It had been watching from much closer than he ever imagined. By morning, the mansion felt different, quieter in a way that finally allowed Adrian to breathe. The maid was escorted out peacefully, her actions now part of an official investigation. The medical consultant cooperated fully, providing records that helped doctors understand what had really been changed and what had not. Most importantly, the disabled triplets were safe. Their readings stabilized, their small hands warm in Adrian's as he sat beside them, refusing to leave their side. The deeper investigation into the family foundation revealed the truth Adrian feared but needed. A senior administrator, trusted for years, had pushed the approval through, convinced risky treatment could lead to recognition and funding. That person was removed immediately, ending the quiet betrayal that had nearly cost Adrian everything. The hidden cameras, once a symbol of fear, became proof that vigilance and love could protect even in the darkest moments. Adrian changed how he lived after that night. He rebuilt his security, but more than that, he learned to listen to doctors, to instincts, and to the silent signals of his children. The experience taught him that real protection isn't about wealth or control, but presence and accountability. As sunlight filled the nursery, Adrian realized his children didn't need a perfect world. They needed someone willing to stand watch, no matter the cost, and never look away again.